And we move to the next kingdom, which is Kingdom Fungi. The learning outcomes is to state the unique characteristic of fungi. The second is to state the classification of fungi based on the spore-bearing structure. There are 3 phyla in this kingdom. The first one is Zygomycota, the second one is Ascomycota, and the third one is Basidiomycota. And the third is to state the importance of fungi, which are as decomposer, symbionts, pathogens, and be used in the commercial importance in food production, as well as being used in the pharmaceutical. The unique characteristic of fungi, the first one is multicellular eukaryote, except for yeast, which is unicellular. The cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin. This makes it different with the plant and also animal, and the food being stored is in the form of glycogen. The next unique characteristic is the structural organization is in the form of filamentous body plan, and it has this basic units which is called as hyphae, and this hyphae is actually a tiny filament surrounding the body, and when it elongates and branch, it will form mycelia. This hyphae is divided into 2 types. The first one is septate hyphae. Septate hyphae means it's been divided with a cross wall known as septa. This septa will divide the hyphae into individual cells containing 1 or more nuclei. Meanwhile, for the second type of hyphae is known as sinusoidal or aseptate hyphae. This hyphae does not have any septum, and therefore it is not divided into individual cells, and with that, this hyphae is multinucleated hyphae. There are also some specialized hyphae known as haustoria. Haustoria is a type of hyphae which is able to absorb the nutrients that penetrate the tissues of the host cell, and this present in mutualistic and parasitic fungi. The function is to extract the nutrients from the plant cell, but there are also hyphae which been used to trap and kill the prey. So this worm has been killed by the hyphae, and the nutrient will be absorbed by the fungi. Next is the mode of nutrition. Fungi is heterotroph. There are some fungi which are saprotroph, means it releases the digestive enzymes and absorbs the nutrients from that organic substance. There are also some fungi which are parasites, and they will use the haustoria to absorb the nutrients from a living host. And the third one, there are also fungi which are mutualist, means it will absorb the nutrients or get the protection from other organisms that give the host cell benefits in return, such as mycorrhizae and lichen, which exist in symbiotic relationship with other organisms. Fungi reproduce by forming spores, sexually or asexually. In asexual reproduction, they will produce the haploid spore, but in sexual reproduction, it will reproduce by 2 stages of syngamy, as been shown in this diagram. Kingdom fungi is classified into 3 phyla based on the spore-bearing structure. The first phylum is Zygomycota, the second is Ascomycota, and the third one is Basidiomycota. The first phylum, for example, is Rhizopus sp. The second one is Ascomycota, for example, is Penicillium sp. Meanwhile, for the third phylum, Basidiomycota, the example is Agaricus sp. Differences between the phyla in fungi is summarized in this table. In Zygomycota, the sexual spore, which is known as zygospore, is bare in this structure known as zygosporangium. Meanwhile, for phylum Ascomycota, the sexual spore is called as ascospore and is contained in the ascus. And the last phylum, in Basidiomycota, the sexual spore, which is known as basidiospore, is contained in this basidium. And the other differences for each phyla, you can read from this summary. So here are the importance of fungi. The first one is decomposer. The fungi will break down the complex molecule in that organism and will help in decompose them. The second one is symbionts. For example, the lichens here. This is a combination of the symbiosis in fungi and algae. Fungi will provide suitable environment for algae, meanwhile algae will in return provide carbon and nitrogen for the fungi. Besides lichens, fungi also form symbiosis with the plant. This is called as mycorrhizae, and the plant will provide photosynthetic products to the fungi, and the fungi in return will provide water and nutrients to the plant root. The third importance as pathogens, Candida species is a type of ascomycetes, will cause candidiasis in the human being, and this infection will develop in the mouth, throat and vagina. For example, in this mouth of the baby, you can see the oral thrush in the baby's stomach. In plants, the basidiomycetes will cause mud and rust in the plant, meanwhile for the ascomycetes will cause the brown rot. The fifth importance of fungi is in the commercial production of food, which we will use these to produce the fermented food, for example, cheese and also bread. The next is in pharmaceutical. For example, we use the Penicillium lactatum to produce penicillin, a type of antibiotic commonly used in treatment of patients.